kind of a lane winner, kind of the Jace of support, gets you some turret plates, it wins the 2v2, that it can either salvage a Sivir lane or like put a Caitlyn lane over the top. Instead, it's almost kind of doing both and salvaging a Kai'Sa lane. So they've decided Kai'Sa for comp instead of Caitlyn for lane. Extend their will. Olaf, you'd say, yep, he falls into that. Lux, the Jace. These are picks that can definitely get the ball rolling, but they slow down a bit with Kai'Sa. The Zoe's up and down. Hanwha Life Esports, they've got obvious inroads into early game domination, but they need to actually act on that piece of paper.
Let's see if they can do it here as we're going to hop into game one of Griffin up against Hanwha Life Esports. Alrighty, jumping into the first game of the second series of the night. Griffin going with Sona again.
DJ Sona in the house, as we can see. Undeniably powerful pick. I would go so far as say undeniably broken pick, but, you know, I'll let you guys decide all the details just there. But they made this pick look very balanced. Misplayed their hand around Sona Taric, where they had the world's best Sona Taric laning phase, into what's the only way we can lose this game, throwing at fights before they were ready to go. In that game, Summit was an expert at splitting away the Sona from grouping and killing either the Taric or the Sona before they actually got to the 5v5. Some mistakes from Griffin there. Second Sona game also, they just never got the death ball team fights that Sona excels in post 25 minutes. So, third time's the charm. They've had a couple of days away. I looked at solo queue. No one got to play solo queue, apparently, on the side of Griffin. I'm sure they're trying to hide. They're going to return to a strategy that didn't work, but this time, it's the third duo lane that Tom Kench rolled in.
And I don't mind it as much as, you know, other days where they were trying to force Lucian funnel or any other of the kind of stubborn ideas that Griffin have had in the past. This one kind of feels like, yeah, everybody knows that Sona's really strong, so can't really blame him for it.
Level 1 took the blue buff and actually was caught with handed a cookie jar on the top side there.
Yeah, it just takes the blast plant away, which is pretty nice, as Tarzan is actually pathing down now. Isn't going to go towards Agatha. Of course, that's the name of the Grump on the blue side. So he's going to path down over to Raptors and down to the bottom side perhaps. But we'll see where he goes afterwards.
Laning phase for Ornn does stabilize, but obviously a level 1 to level 2 Jace. Going to be happy tidings. Don't worry. There'll be biscuits. There'll be cloth armors. They'll all start piling on the defensive side. On the side of Griffin. In case you guys are unfamiliar with the Frostmancy on the bot side, Viper's walking up, trying to get his quest cashed in as early as possible. We saw 7-minute quest in the Sona Taric lane. Sona Tom Kench this time, so that's the par time. I would say par as like, this is fine, is kind of 9 to 11 minutes. Anything more than that is unfortunate. Also, the Sona can be all-in and die pretty easily, but with the lane in this spot, much more tricky to pull off.
Feeling bad about that cannon, but then I realized that it's just missed gold for Tom Kench, which doesn't really matter. He's going to be...
He's just devoured this.
Just fine.
That might have been a misplaced on the W, not sure.
They did it before to avoid the turret killing one of the minions, but that one was kind of an interesting one. A sword still struggling. The one thing I like about the early pick on the Jace for Sohan is I think it was Jace the last time, but when they won against KT, he came out in the interview, he actually got the MVP for the game, and he's like, yeah, my team just picked me Ultra Comfort, and I was able to win at my lane and kind of carry and get the MVP based off of that. So it's another idea that kind of makes you think, you know, maybe Sohan could do something good for his team in this game.
And I think it's cool that you bring that up, because if you think back to the most recent game for Hanwha Life, that 2-0 lost to Afrika, Keen had a field day on Sohan. Yeah. Sohan got booty blasted, I guess is what I would say.
Boy.
For that one, he got it was a bad time.
Yeah, you're bringing out the big terms for that one.
I mean, Keen's really good, and Sohan on comfort can be good, but I think off comfort, or when things don't start his way, they don't end his way either.
He's, well, he's going to have his way in the lane, at least in the beginning up against the Ornn. So that's one good thing that's going for him. The Doran's trying to push as much as possible on that. So Sohan always kind of a a guy that gets a little bit nervous in his interviews, but not very nervous when you see him play in the game.
So, let's try to make heads or tails of the bot lane decision here to go for the Kai'Sa. You look at the team, and it's not the Ornn team that has the Kai'Sa, right? And usually that was the duo to get all those plasmas stacked up with the hard crowd control, and then Kai'Sa just comes in as the execution squad and gets a lot of kills that way. Zoe, Trouble Bubble, Lux. Other than that, yeah, not a lot of hard crowd control on the team of Hanwha Life. Now, Kai'Sa can do a lot of intriguing things. If you're playing a side lane with a Kai'Sa, she can swoop in and get kills and maybe accelerate the demise of a side laner. But Hanwha Life are much more about the siege battles, and that's where I come back to why not the Caitlyn? Because they've got a champion who needs to siege. Zoe doesn't want to be in a side lane, Valdez. And then you think of who's going to come and join the Zoe when she wants to siege. Ezreal, Caitlyn, absolutely. The Kai'Sa is not a siege AD carry, so I find it very interesting. They went the route of Kai'Sa here, and until we are convinced, I kind of need to see something from Hanwha Life to justify it.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the idea of comfort, I'm trying to remember if this is like a giant comfort pick for Songyun, but the one thing that I do know is this guy, he knows how to play a lot of stuff. He's one of those guys in the bottom lane that's not scared to kind of flex his solo queue muscles and play a lot of different picks, so I wouldn't kind of tag him as the guy that needs comfort or desperately wants it in any game, so not really finding an answer there, Pablo.
It gives more team fight. But I don't feel like you could say, well, we've got Jace. Jace always enough poke, because how often is Jace actually grouped? You have to push and roam, and Ornn does have a decent amount of shove for an engage tank if you try to roam on him first. He has a long engage range to force as well. It's not like going for Caitlyn would remove team fighting. It's not quite Kai'Sa, doesn't turn on as early, but still kind of gives everything in my mind. So given the disconnect between the Zoe Jace identity and the Kai'Sa, I personally come in unconvinced, but I'm ready to be made a believer. That's the thing I always try to do is I have my opinions, but there are definitely some times where I learn something new from a pick that doesn't seem on paper like the obvious one. So here's to hoping for a next level from the side of Hanwha Life.
Yeah, I mentioned before a lot of the teams that are willing to mix things up and play weird stuff and be ahead of the meta, but I didn't mention Hanwha Life because in that point I was specifically mentioning the teams that are at the top of the ladder right now, but Hanwha's definitely another team that are willing to do it. Now, Kai'Sa is, you know, not out of meta or anything ultra crazy, but definitely maybe not what you were expecting, as Hanwha, as I'm speaking about them, able to move over and pick up an early mountain dream.
Another comfortable laning phase for the Sona. 440 gold so far on the quest, so tier is in, first type of charging, the gold charging is almost in as well. This is, again, really good start for the Sona lane. No turret plates taken either with the Lux Kai'Sa lane, so seems like once again Viper has gotten away with it, but the payoff in 2 games so far is nil, so still a lot of work to be done. Laning phase Sona, apparently Griffin all about, but so far after that, as the 8-minute 5-second transformation comes in, we're still waiting to see if Griffin have leveled up.
The control ward here has gotten a lot of value. You know what that means, Papa. We're eventually going to have to give that one a name. Not sure if we have any ideas just yet, but that's the second time now that Tarzan has moved past that control ward.
Now, it was put down by Muujin. If it was Bono, we could have come up with this a U2 song.
Yeah.
But with good old Muujin, let's think of a Flash Wolves reference. I think that probably makes sense there. Let's call it Sword Art.
Sword Art?
Yep, Sword Art. Deep into the jungle of Griffin.
I like it.
Now,
see how long he survives there.
Now over in the LPL, Tuning Gaming, who are doing much better this season after being kind of the unfulfilled potential team in the LPL in spring. Toby continues to wave clear as much as he can. This is always a matchup we've seen from time to time. Smattering of Yasuo versus Zoe. Winwall obviously has a lot of ability to allow Chovy a moment to go in. It's almost never a full defensive Winwall. It's usually a, you're coming in and I'm going to take a trade with Winwall that comes through on the side of the Yasuo. Gold-wise, 5,900 to 4,900. They're 1,000 gold up already in the bot lane. That's insane.
Wow. And, yeah. I've been playing a lot of Sona in solo queue as well. It gets pretty insane once you get 2-3 items. You're super fast. You're just running around. You never die. You do
like,
a lot of damage. It's pretty insane, especially in pro when you have a team to play around.
No, but they're up. It's so weird because we have had no Sona data points in Korea to show you guys how broken this is. You have to have watched all the other regions. But for them to be 10 plus like CS up and 1,000 gold up for the Sona carry that's known to tank lane but be fine later, like, they're redefining what Sona can be in lane, but just not being able to put the full picture together on the out-of-laning phase, actually.
And also, talked about tanking lane. I feel like, as we were talking about, Hanwha haven't really done much to challenge so far, at least with the picks in the bottom lane. So, another lane where Griffin kind of just sail on through. We'll see what they can make of it, as it kind of feels like Griffin were eyeing that Rift Herald, but not quite yet.
And you wonder whether the kind of, what's the word? The twinkle that suggests that perhaps Griffin have gone to the other side is, Orin is late game. Really, really late game, right? Level 13, starts giving free items to himself than everyone else. He's an engaged tank that people don't pick because of laning phase. They were running Jace with the Sona comps before. Maybe what really shows that they now understand, okay, like in team fighting is where we win with Sona. Maybe the Orin is kind of the elephant in the room that suggests that Griffin have got it sorted this time out.
Well, it'd be nice to see it work, but we'll have to wait and see what does happen in this one, as now Hanwha Life we're thinking about actually getting on the Rift Herald, but the pings are already down from the side of Griffin. Shelly's she's a big girl. You can definitely see her on that Rift Scuttler, and it looks like they have a good idea. This is going on now, as Tarzan is going to come on over, and is going to be a 2-on-3 for now, as Orin is not coming down. Looks like they're just going to try to go for the Smite steal, but it does go the way of Hanwha Life. That does mean now with the sleep coming in, Tarzan gives his life away, and that's first blood to Lava.
That all seemed pretty transparent what was happening there. The mid laner moved in the face of the Yasuo. The disengage ult is not going to work. It's Olaf, right? So that's very uncharacteristically free kill.
And Sword sitting up in the top side with his ult up and not coming down, and Griffin just giving it away and not supporting him, and then him still staying there. Definitely a weird kind of engagement there.
It's just bad for a player who has been kind of on another level for a lot of his LCK tenure, so very, very poor for Tarzan to die there. No reason to whatsoever.
And it also felt like kind of a communication breakdown, right? If they were going to back off, then back off, you know, listen to your team. Maybe he was the one saying, no, we can fight. And if it were 3-on-3, I feel like potentially, but okay, somewhere along the line, but then something fell out of, you know.
And that's, the weird thing is, if that's a one-off, like, okay, never mind, it's Griffin, but like, as Trophy's got all in the mid lane.
Oh, he's got an Orin with him too, as that is going to sail wide. Even if it did land, I'm not sure if that could have been capitalized upon.
What I wanted to get to about is given the Sona Taric loss as well, there's been multiple times this season where you're reaching for how something that seems so set up to be great for Griffin didn't come together. So very weird that they have been struggling in that fashion, as they're just going to take the turret. How are they winning the lane this hard?
They're diving as he has to flash, but that's a Tom Kench, buddy. You're not getting away from this one. See you later, as 2v2 easily they pick up that kill. Meanwhile, up in the top side, Shelly doing some work up here, but that's Griffin getting the kill, the turret, and an Infernal Drake. Should be traded up for the turret in the top lane, but going on to Sword here, trying to get away. They do get the kill, and get away with their lives, as well as getting this turret.
Better play by this top duo in the bot lane here. Because all the free turret plays came down during the contest earlier, with Lux leaving the lane in order to help with the Rift Herald, it's led to an interesting question that I can pose. Lux left, so they could definitely get a Rift Herald, but it lets the Sona Taric win more, and it's supposed to be containment, or just a straight-up aggression against Sona Taric. So when Lux comes back, she's down in levels, they're down in turret plates, they can be dived. Conventional logic would say, shout even, that it's not worth it to let Sona Tom Kench do better. This is the end result. Turret dive, a turret. This is a very, 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 very strong Sona.
Yeah.
Look at how much he has at 14 minutes.
He's already got the Sheen on top of the Archangel staff at 15 minutes. That is just mind-boggling.
I don't give the 5th berry unless it's deserved.
Yeah, usually it's only 3 or 4. You took an extra step ahead there as, man. Well, let's hope that they can actually win with it. Just for Griffin's mental sake, I'll just say that, because if they lose again after this kind of laning phase, I don't know what they're going to think.
My mind was boggled. In this game, it could perhaps go further than mind-boggling. I'm not even sure what word comes after mind-boggling. I'm already thinking and seeing Tarek every time I see Sona. I'm just going to be seeing... I don't know what I'm going to be seeing Valdez. I'm going to need to take over and just do both roles.
I'll figure it out. See what kind of analysis I have for that setup. But now we got Griffin up in the top lane. Things are still looking good. They're up 3,000 gold. A lot of that is in the Sona, of course, but they're pushing the top lane with some of the pressure. Just rotating a lot of that pressure up towards the top side of the map.
They have a 40 CS advantage on the enemy bot lane also, as Sona Tom can.
I don't know what went wrong there, but they're having a blast, that's for sure. Lava also struggling in the mid lane up against the Asuo, as the Zoe can be hard with the wind wall, but down about 30 CS here in the lane.
And despite the fact that we're watching the second place team in spring season, a team that has been so dominant in regular seasons, you want to shout out, game's over. Sona's so big so early, but we already know that they are not able to actually back up that sort of a claim. They don't deserve that level of high expectation because they lost the Sona Tarek game in game number 1 of their last series. So, Griffin, action on them to close us out. Hanwha Life, they're in a lot of strife.
Take a look at this. Triple knock-up, at least, if the stopwatch didn't come in. Toby going in, but Sword going pretty deep. It is going to pay off with the kill onto Lava, but it's just the trade of kills and the mid lane turret for now.
The Wombo's fine, but this spot in between 2 turrets, not enough damage to actually finish off the kills with the extra calculation of turret damage by the enemy team. So Griffin will continue their push. Still overall good for them, because Sona's going to keep them topped up.
They're not losing health anytime soon. They also have a wind wall on top of it. Binding here onto Sona. Can you kill her? No, she's got a Tom Kent's in her back pocket. She immediately comes out. Everybody's at full health, and you're feeling pretty good.
This comp incentivizes them to groove.
They're over 3,300 gold ahead right now in the AD carry slot.
You know how we cut off the replay of the last one because of the 1/8 of a Teemo situation?
Yeah.
I think we should be active censoring the gold totals for the bottom lane.
Yeah, don't show us that anymore. It's
we're good. We're good.
It's too much.
We got the feel of it, you know, but the rest needs to be just censored, please.
It's before 20 minutes.
But at least it's, look at this, something that we didn't see with Sona Tarek. They're grouping with the Sona. Again, too bold, but the basic call of group with the Sona, that part, we're liking this particular one. They go really, really deep against turrets, which I think is a bit of a fool's errand. That's why it ends up a 1-for-1. Siege ends. Griffin go back. The Lich Bane's done now for just the bonkers' strongest thing ever. 1,300 gold is the quest so far.
It's pretty ridiculous what he's able to do down there. So, and we do have to say, you know, the last time they did lose with the Sona, it was up against Sandbox. Definitely one of our better teams in here. Hanwha Life still, you know, struggling a little bit. They did take that loss to Afrika the last time around. Another good team. So, again, we're still learning what it all means here in summer and what is the power level of all the teams currently.
And I have a report for you. Lehens has finally understood there are other items in the shop than Redemption. He's actually
really?
gone for Gargoyle's, not Gargoyle's Stoneblade. He's actually just changed his Righteous Glory Tom. That's not top lane Righteous Glory Tom, but I'm sure this is his top lane Tom Kench item. He's going aggressive with his Devours, apparently.
That he is. I wonder why that is exactly. Obviously, it could be used aggressively, but maybe just to get in range. Definitely an interesting item choice on the Tom.
Is Sona going to beat Tyson straight up as CS? It's not there yet. It's 30 down, but...
You never want to be that guy that lost to a Frostman lane in CS. But it's definitely possible.
I don't know what to make of this Righteous Glory Tom. Don't know what to make of this gold lead. Griffin can kind of do everything, but the clock's working against them in that Baron hasn't spawned yet, so they just want more objectives to walk up to, out-sustain the enemy, and then if Hanwha Life look at them the wrong way, should be engage options as well. They drafted the Ornn for minutes like this, and Ornn is only one level away from casually giving himself 2,500 gold worth of stats for his Abyssal Mask and his Iceborne Ball.
We're accelerating pretty fast here in the gold chart, as you can see. Not so many kills to make it anything totally ridiculous, but a lot of that gold just comes in the bottom lane. Of course, we're going to take another look at that pretty ridiculously.
1,400 gold disadvantage in top. But other than that, the numbers are very kind reading. For Griffin, walking up, level 11 now. Remember those ultimate levels, much less for ult-related things, but for the internal cooldown reduction on abilities that Sona gets access to are really worth talking to. Very few champions in the game are stronger than a farmed level 16 Sona.
Yeah, you just get so fast, and you can see how she just easily chunks Mooch into range there. Doesn't even have to engage.
Here he comes!
Here's that Tom with the Righteous Glory. Hello, he says. And yeah, you're dead, Sohan. That's a little bit too far up the lane for me, buddy.
I think if you ask two different people who the scariest sight is, the Lich Bane, Seraph's Sork Shoes Sona at 21 minutes, or just a damn Righteous Glory Tom Kench running at you, you might get a couple of different answers. This one might be Sir Thomas Kench going on the side for Lehens. They walk up, they sustain. Hanwha Life Esports are playing with just a few minions, no monsters. They have very little control of their destiny.
They're kind of just got the Olaf running around, Zoe not really able to poke them out. I mean, even if you land a trouble bubble, surely eventually Tom can pick up a QSS as well if he really wants it. Not a ton of hard CC as you were mentioning before, so you might just skip it as you see Stopwatch coming in before, and now we're looking for another engage here. Gets that knocked off as, where'd she go? I missed it.
She's dead, Valdez. That's all there is to say. I don't think we need too many adjectives this game because the action on the Rift is doing all the talking.
Yeah, this is there's a lot of things in this game. An insane Sona that got super far ahead. A Kench that has been certainly unbenched. And it just kind of feels like it kind of feels like the days of when Janair would just get, you know, behind and then just sit back and lose and not really be able to do anything. That's kind of feels like the position right now for Hanwha. As I'm struggling to find an answer for them right now.
And if you're a Griffin fan, you're like, we're back, we've done it. And if you're a Griffin denier, you say, okay, but how could you get that far ahead in the bot lane? And how was Ornn CS for CS with Jace at 100 CS for both of them? And that usually does indicate that Hanwha Life have made some mistakes. They had an Olaf, they had some strong lanes to jungle around. It led to even CS or better for the side of Griffin. So no full answers to our wonderings just yet, but the ponderings end for Mugen. Look at his damage!
What is going on?
That was a Q auto and the ult, and the Zoe died!
Oh boy. And by the way, Crescendo's back in 50 seconds.
No, but the Zoe died!
I know. They made the mistake of trying to go over the wall right in front of them on vision as nobody's got any health, it feels like, against this Sona. I feel like I hear fans cheering in the audience right now.
We feel like we should be booing the Sona damage rather than cheering it. Well, Griffin did it. They made Sona look as overpowered.
I mean, this is definitely one of those games where it's like,
It's better to laugh.
You don't really have to say anything. You just make that noise and they kind of get it. It's like, right. Yeah.
All right, well, this game's the most over. We said that before. We're right this time.
I love how there's so much poke on the side of Hanwha Life and one win wall stops it all, too. It's like, Jovi's not even trying to do damage. He's just keeping the Sona alive. as is all the tanks on his team, and the Tom Kench, who just devours her if anything happens.
Oh, here we go. Watch this. Full health.
Let's get the slow-mo.
100%. Oh, no, sorry. There was a Q. There was a Q from Tom Kench. So it's only...
Oh, what?
Well, that was a 1300 damage instant burst.
Yeah.
How much did he overkill, though? He has 667 AP.
He's only 1 AP away from 666.
I love, we know the Observer. Look at how much he's hovering on numbers here.
Jonas Strong's having a good day observing.
Jonas Strong is having a good day.
Can we take a look at the crescendo numbers again? We're not sure. Oh, man. We're 6-0. It's pretty good. Nobody else on his team has a kill, by the way. They're giving it all to the Sona.
Mom said if I have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. So let's get to this game and find nice things to say about the next game.
I know, it's definitely very hard to avoid all the things we could be saying. That is for sure. Uh-oh, Mujin. Were you too close? Oh, no! You got too close to the Sona! Why were you standing there?
Sona 9-0-0, legendary, might have 100% kills, and the 8-0-0 is legendary still. Will anyone else get a kill? My prediction is no.
I don't think we should let anyone else have a kill. Let's give it all to the Sona.
Agreed.
Oh, there you go. You got another one. You saw Chovius trying to steal it with the blade. Get out of here. Oh, you got to get in there. Come on, tank it. Oh, okay. GG. That's going to be it for game one, and what a game it was. Not a lot of real casting in that one.
Sona.
Uh-huh. I see. Yeah.
Sona.
And supporting him, he had a couple of ults on the Ornn. That was good. He did a couple of things.
I mean, he went even in the laning phase on Ornn versus Jason. I have to think that is more a downer on Hanwha Life than a amazing play for the Ornn, given that Ornn kind of, he only's got what he's got. But yeah, I mean, he did his job for sure, and that's what Sword more reliably is. No smiles cracked at all at any moment by Viper with his 100% kills Sona.
Yeah, there's actually the zoom in on his face as that is the big D damage graph, if I say so myself.
What does the D stand for?
Damage.
Okay. The big damage chart?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's damage squared.
If we can say Sona as many times we did, that makes sense. I feel like we went to a different place in this 26-minute victory. Hanwha Life, I think, increasingly want to leave the game as much as possible. And guess what? Good news, they left the game. They're able to try to recharge and perhaps ban Sona.
I think game plan going into the next one, ban the Sona and
work it out from there.
Yeah. I don't want to see that variation where you're like, well, we have this secret counter pick. No, none of that. Let's just ban the Sona and get on with the real League of Legends in game number 2, because we didn't see too much of that in game 1, probably.
Yeah, we saw a lot of gameplay Sona, that's for sure.
We did. If you're a Sona fan, you had a good time, and that's about it. Very fun to play, by the way, if you get to that point in time. So maybe you guys can try it out yourselves in the break. We'll be back.